So today we're going to be going over how SuzyMadeIt does these drawing effects throughout his videos. When he does these effects in his videos, he actually prints out a frame, draws on it with marker, pen, pencils, paint, whiteout, and even rips the paper. In this video, we're gonna go through and do all that, but we're gonna do it 100% digital. And it's actually gonna look the exact same as Suzy because he recently went through, bundled up all his sauce into an editing pack, did a collaboration with Cinepacks, and sent it over my way. And it's really dope to see them working with smaller creators. So if you wanna support me, Cinepacks, and also most importantly, Suzy, I'll have his pack linked down below. Go ahead and check that out. So let's go through, kind of review his pack, see what we can do with it, and make some effects. For objects, you can see if we drag some of these in here, you can see what that looks like. There's a bunch of objects. There's wings, there's guns, horns, all that stuff. A lot of the Suzy like textbook drawings that he does through his videos. It's also another cool one. It's kind of similar to objects, but it's a little bit more just like drawing of like random blobs and stuff like this. You can see like there's rough outlines and blobs and faces, kind of similar to objects, but I like that one a lot. Scratches is also pretty cool because this is one of his like signature effects that he does throughout the video. You can see how it has scratches. I'm going to be definitely using that in the tutorial. There's also a few black pen animations you can see here. Also is like alphabet and symbols. There's some paper textures to have it look like it's actually printed on paper. And then lastly, some sound effects, which is really nice that they included that in the pack. That way you have everything you need to get these effects in the actual pack itself. So to do this effect throughout your video, all you really need to do is find a spot where a clip ends or begins. In our case, we're just going to replace his transition here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And then all you need to do is just cut your frame so it's 1 frame long and right click on it and go to add frame hold. Now when you drag this out, it's going to be the same still all the way through. Depending on your editing software, you might have to take a screenshot. You can also do that in Premiere Pro up here. Basically all you need to do is just have a picture of the last frame or the first frame in your clip. So let's go ahead and drag on paper texture 04. I like this one. And all this is in 4K and I'm using a 1920 by 1080 timeline. So I'm actually going to go ahead, scale this to frame size so it fits a little bit better. And then I'm going to click motion to tilt this and also just scale it up to our frame size. I'm gonna click on that, go to opacity and turn it to screen. And this looks all right, but I'm actually gonna go to lumetri color and just add some curves to it. That way it just fits in a little bit better in my opinion. It really depends on the clip you're using. If it's like really light, it might look a little weird. So that's what I'm doing on this clip right here. And then I'm gonna drag this all the way to the top because I want all the other layers to be below it. So now I wanna add on some like objects. Let's go ahead and add on, I think the scary face looks dope, honestly. Let's go through and add this on. I think a lot of people are gonna like this one. Add this on, scale it. I'm gonna go through kind of where it finishes and line it up. And if the effect's taking longer than your actual transition, you can just go cut it where it ends. And then in Premiere Pro, using the rate stretch tool or just pressing R, you can speed it up. Let's speed it up so it ends a little bit faster. And I actually want to stop it before it gets darker like this. So what I'm gonna do is actually just right click and add a frame hold. You can see it finishes drawing here and then it doesn't continue. And one thing for the white and black effects, if you use invert, the channel invert, you can change any of the white effects to black and any of the black effects to white. So keep that in mind. I like this pack because it's different than most overlay packs. It's not just like one drag on and you're done. It's a lot of like customization you can do with it. Let's do one of these wings. Go ahead and scale it to frame size and then click motion and scale it up. And again, I'm gonna cut it and speed it up. So you can see obviously it goes in front of our subject here. So to fix that, all I'm going to do is drag this down, duplicate this layer so it replaces. Now you can't see it anymore, but all we need to do now is just mask out our subject and do a pretty good job at it. You don't have to worry about the top area here because the wings don't go there. And then you're probably going to want to turn off the feather or make it like just a few pixels. And you can see now it's drawing in the background. Let's go ahead and add on one more object like this heart here. Put it over his heart. So right side for us. This one takes a while. We're going to need to speed it up again. I want it to happen a little bit later on. And then we're just going to do that frame hold, kind of a last second thing. And then let's not use objects because we use a lot of objects. Let's do something like scratches. I think like one solid scratch like over the whole entire thing at the end is going to look pretty cool. Let's find out where it ends, cut it, and we're definitely going to have to speed this up. One thing you can do to kind of manipulate the effects too is turn off the uniform scale and play with the width and height of the rip itself. That way you can like make it longer. You don't want to stretch it out too crazy, but you can get away with a little bit. Let's go ahead and put it over his eyes, make this a little bit more visible. Let's toss the invert on the scary face. That way it's in black and then it draws throughout. And I actually want the scratch to go the opposite way. So let's flip that horizontally and then just reposition it wherever we want. Now if we play that, we got a lot of drawing going on. but this looks dope. And you can use this as a transition now. It looks pretty dope, but I always like nesting all of these in these drawing effects. The most important effect is probably transform. I use transform and not scale in just so it has that motion blur. You change the shutter angle to 180 or even 360 for this because we're not going to zoom in that much. Go ahead and keyframe the position and scale, and then maybe go to like 115. We can even maybe change the position a little bit so it zooms up on him up and see what we got. That looks pretty dope. I'm also gonna go through and add shake on, but make sure it's above the transform, otherwise it's gonna like mess up the position of the shake. And let's make something like frequency 1 and then amplitude 0.1. You can keyframe it to get a little bit more intense with frequency and amplitude throughout. Maybe make the frequency 3 at the end and like 0.2. Nothing too crazy. I'm also gonna turn on motion blur. That way the shakes have a little bit of blur to it. Just a slight shake is like all you need. You can see it just adds a little bit of movement to it and it makes it look a lot better. Now, lastly, just the transition between the two clips, I'm gonna add on some directional blur and we're gonna go to right before it ends, keyframe the blurriness 15, but I'm also gonna change the direction to horizontally and then go 1 frame back and make that 0. So just at the last frame, it has a quick blur. Now let's add some glow on. We'll just add normal VR glow. I'm gonna bring that above the directional blur so it's affected by the directional blur. And let's keyframe the brightness to like 60, line it up with the blur frame, and then go back and maybe go back 2 frames and make that 0. Now you can see it kind of has that flash blur, and you can actually go ahead and do the opposite on the next clip in. We could add like Gaussian blur instead. Keyframe that to like 15, so like 3 frames forward and reset that. And you can even add the glow back on as well. And that's the same process I used for these two effects here. It's the exact same thing, just using different elements from the pack. You can see very similar to what he had in the video itself. And then our last effect that we just finished. Boom. Let me know if you guys want to see more tutorials on this pack. They designed this pack really well and you can use it for a lot of different things and different techniques. So there's definitely a lot more tutorial content that I could come up with on this pack. So let me know in the comments down below if you want to see that. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like on the video. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers. If you're interested in the pack, I'll have it linked down below. It's really cool that they did a collab pack. It's really cool for the editing community as a whole. SUZY's style is really, really popular. I think a lot of people want the effect. So him making it into a pack showing all his sauce is really cool. So be sure to check that out, link down below. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you guys in this one. Peace.